Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be tier listing the Mega Evolution Pokemon available in Regulation MB. And guys, just 1 month away from Worlds, I figured it was a good time to look back and reevaluate the state of the metagame and some of the Megas that I think could also, come up in usage and surprise some of us at the World Championships. So we're going to jump into things now. We got Mega Venusaur. As always, I love how it's chronological. Venusaur always thinks he's important because it's, it's the first one chronologically in terms of the Megas. So everybody's like, yo, Venusaur, it's there. I honestly think a well-supported Venusaur has a lot of potential. There's a lot of pluses when it comes to Venusaur. I find myself theory crafting Venusaur. I'm like, yeah, this thing is amazing. It looks so good on paper. And it just never ends up being that dominant piece that I want it to be. But overall, I do think Mega Venusaur has a niche. I really think on a rain team it could be very good and it could excel. I hate saying it, but Charizard X might be gimmicky. It's a decent Pokemon. It's a very good Pokemon. Well supported, it will do well. But I think overall the strategy and what you're trying to accomplish with it doesn't mesh well into the current state of the metagame that we have. It's a good Pokemon. I just don't think it works right now. It's very clear as to what you're going to do with it, right? So in my opinion, gimmick is probably the wrong word for that category. But in a sense that I see a Mega Charizard X, my guess is it's probably going to try to set up. It's going to have a redirector beside it. It's going to have a couple fake out guys beside it. And it just doesn't have the typing, the move pool that I would like it to have for a piece that I'm going to be utilizing that kind of strategy for. If I'm going to go double fake out redirector, I'm going to bring a Floette. Now maybe there's a niche for it, but I don't see it right now. Mega Charizard Y, guys, this guy's kind of bad. No, we're going to put him at the top, guys. By far, and he's probably going to be alone up at that top right now, guys. When you are a Sunsetter, and you can also be one of the better Megas on a rain team, I think that says all it needs to say about Mega Charizard Y. It is by far the best Pokemon in the metagame. By far the most consistent as well. So it's got a spot up there on its top, and it's going to have good performances at the World Championships for sure. Blastoise is a little bit more... I'm kind of torn beside the Venusaur because I think it's better than the Venusaur. But I also think it's not quite at this tier. I'm going to leave it in really strong right now, just because it has seen a decent amount of success. That +2 Water Spout, when you get that Shell Smash going, it's got some cool coverage moves as well. I think it's a very strong option. I might move it down a tier, depending on where we start slotting some other Pokemon in. But for right now, I think it's a really strong option. It's got a lot of teams that mesh well with it. Like the Delphox stuff appreciate having the Blastoise. There's a lot of teams right now that Blastoise can kind of take care of in the metagame, so I think it's a pretty strong option right now. Beedrill, guys, it's clickbait for a video. I'm going to be honest with you. There's some cool things it can do, but it's just not good. It's a glass cannon. It doesn't take the KOs that you want it to take. So yeah, it's just going to hover down here. Pidgeot's bad, okay? You have to prove me wrong on this one. No Guard is a cool ability. No Guard Hyper Beam is funny. No Guard Hurricane, in theory, sounds great. But it doesn't have the move pool. It doesn't have the stats to back it up. The 135 special attack is kind of cool. I actually had it in the build the other day because I was going to make a video on it. And then I'm like, these damage calculations are just horrible. So you guys are going to have to really prove me wrong on that one. And its buddy Alakazam, you're going to have to prove me wrong on that one. In fact, I think regular Alakazam may be more viable than the Mega one. So if you guys want to do some, proving me wrong and then tag me with I got champion tier with Mega Alakazam, you know what? Go ahead, go out there, prove me wrong. But these guys, in my opinion, just aren't quite there. Slowbro, it's probably clickbait for a video. You can probably maybe go up a tier with it. If I'm being completely honest, it might be in a gimmicky slot. Anytime you have Iron Defense Body Press available with the defense stat that this Slowbro does have, I think there's an option. However, the problem is it's very frail to a lot of the metagame right now. So I don't even think it's decent. I just think it's down here. You're going to use it. It's clickbait. You might get some wins with it, but I don't think it's going to do any sort of crazy performances at Worlds. I think Gengar is a really decent option right now. Anytime you can hinder your opponent from being able to switch, it's going to be good. That shadow tag ability is going to be fantastic. There is that concept where, it kind of tends to fall into that perish trap, that perish song gimmick strategy. However, the concept of Gengar, I think, is incredibly strong. It's not the best in the meta right now, but I do think anytime you're taking an option away from your opponent to be able to switch Pokemon, gives you that positioning. And as a balanced player, if I can know that my opponent doesn't switch out, that limits the options that I have to think through. I think this Pokemon is really, really good. I know it tends to be on those Perish Song teams and those Perish Trap teams right now, but I think even outside of that, as maybe like a random secondary Mega, just to give yourself some extra options, I definitely think it's really, really strong, and it's still pretty good on those, that Rain Perish team is still sticking around in the metagame, so it's a good Pokemon. We'll definitely see it have some decent success at Worlds, I'd be sure. I'd be imagined. I think Kangaskhan is probably, if it's well supported, but the weird part is it tends to be the support piece. I don't know, that's weird to me, because playing this game in, 2015, 2016, and then seeing Kangaskhan, even 2018, seeing Kangaskhan as the, if this guy gets well supported, it's kind of crazy to me, because like normally before this, it would have been like right at the top. But having it be down here just seems really weird to me. But I do think a well-built Kangaskhan team could do well. But I just don't see what that well-built Kangaskhan team is at the moment. It's a decent mod, but it definitely lost a lot in terms of all the nerfs that it took. So I think it's decent, but it definitely needs to be on the right team. If you get it right, you're probably going to have a decent run, because it's still a strong option. Just, I don't know, it just doesn't get the KOs that you want it to get anymore. Mega Pinsir, if I put it in clickbait, I'm going to get laughed at, because I did just lose to it. So I'm going to leave it in gimmicky. I might have to knock it down a tier at the end, but I'm going to leave it in gimmicky for now, guys. I did get cooked by a Mega Pinsir clicking Storm Throw into a Tauros for the anger point, and then the Tauros swept me. So in that case, it was the Tauros that swept me, not the Pinsir. But it's a cool Pokemon. It might have to go down a tier. It's definitely at the bottom of this tier, if anything, knowing what other Megas I'm going to put in this tier. But there's maybe something there, okay? Aerialite is a cool ability, kind of similar to, anytime you get that normal type move that becomes that flying type move with that boost, it's a pretty cool option, right? It's got some decent speed as well, maybe a decent attack stat, but there's no way it fits into the metagame as like an actual piece right now. Maybe on a random team here or there, but I don't think it's a very real piece. Gyarados is interesting. Mega Gyarados is super interesting. I think it's up in here around the Blastoise, maybe down here with the Venusaur, somewhere between these two tiers. And this is where the problem with the tier lists arise, in my opinion, is that like you have a lot of really cool options and you have all these categories, but sometimes, there's Pokemon that just kind of fall right in between still. And that's probably where the Gyarados is. I think it's a great option. I will bring it down one tier just because I think it needs the correct support to be capable of doing anything. And other than that, I mean, yeah, you got some cool options, right? You get matchups nice into some of the stuff at the top here, but then it loses to some of the other stuff at the top. So it's kind of like here. If it's well supported, it'll be decent. I don't think it's a good Mega on its own. I think paired with other Megas, it definitely has the right option. Mega Aerodactyl, I'm going to put in fantastic option. And this is strictly going up a tier because of how good Charizard is, right? If there was no Charizard, it would be a good option still. It would probably be really strong. But strictly on how good Charizard is, the fast Tailwind, you become the fastest piece in the metagame, fastest non-prankster Tailwind setter. You get some cool support options as well, like Wide Guard, some tech moves. Ice Fang was a pretty cool one. But overall, just Rock Slide flying coverage right now. Fast flying coverage is very appreciated in this metagame right now, so we have to consider that. I don't know why I didn't remove the Mewtwo's, so I'll take care of those right now, get rid of them. Get them out of here. They might come back up later. But Ampharos, guys, it's just not good. It's clickbait for a video. That long, majestic hair, you throw that in a thumbnail, people are going to click on it. And unfortunately, I think that's where it stops for Ampharos. It is a cool Pokemon, but it's just not quite there. Mega Steelix is probably just a wolf special, guys. I don't think it's very good. It has its options, but it just isn't where it needs to be in the metagame. I could put it in gimmicky, so maybe I will, because I do think it's a little better than what I have down here. So I'll leave it in gimmicky, but guys, it's probably not great. Same with the Mega Scizor. I think you can do a lot of what you do with Mega Scizor as a regular Scizor, holding maybe like a Metal Coat or a Life Orb now that that's back into game. So you can do some cool things with it. It's a decent mon, but I think that's probably where it stops. Heracross coming in here for the video clickbait once again, guys. It's an interesting mon. I'm going to get hate for this one, especially from my friend group, because they love Heracross, but hey, you know what? It's here. I don't think it's going past clickbait for a video, guys. It just doesn't do what it needs to do. I think it's like interesting when it's built, when it's put beside like 5 other really good Pokemon. I think it's like, hey, this Heracross team works, but I don't think it's really all that great. Mega Houndoom as well, guys. It's clickbait for a video. It's a cool, interesting option into like some of the King Gambits and the Charizard teams going around, but outside of that, it really doesn't have that next level. I'd rather just use Charizard if I'm being honest with you. Mega T-Tar is real, especially with Sand picking back up. I think it's a pretty strong option right now. It's not like the best thing in the game, but it is a very good Pokemon naturally, just with all these stats that it does have. It's got its clear weaknesses to the fighting types, but honestly, I do think it's a very strong Pokemon, especially if you look at the metagame right now, even without putting some of the other Megas on right now. Charizard alone, being able to help deal with that, deals with the Aerodactyl, deals with the Gengar stuff, right? Things like that, that is something you really need to consider, and I think they're both, and I think because it deals with those guys, it's a pretty strong option right now. Sceptile, guys, is clickbait for a video. You do the discharge and the lightning rod shenanigans, but other than that, you've got not much there. Blaziken is picking back up in usage. I know it was kind of the talk of the town when it first came out in Regulation MB, then it's kind of been nowhere. It's kind of getting talked about again, right? If you can support this guy well, I think it's very, very strong. It is a bit of a glass cannon, but it actually gets the KOs, as opposed to, you know, things like the Sceptile and the Beedrill that I put down here. Yeah, it's a glass cannon. The Blaziken, it's a glass cannon, but I feel like it actually makes up for that in the fact that it does get that KO, right? That Blaziken will get that KO with that Flare Blitz if you want it to. It will get that KO with that close combat when you need it to. It won't be around on the field very often, but a well-supported Blaziken, in my opinion, definitely can go a long way. I think it's a pretty cool option. Mega Swampert's good. I don't know if I want to put it in Fantastic just yet. I'm going to leave it down here, but it's definitely a tier above the Gengar. Should be somewhere above Gengar for sure. Really good option. Very consistent option on rain as well. One of the few extra ground types that we have. And just those rain teams alone are very, very strong to see Swampert on. I think it's a very good piece right now. Gardevoir probably goes somewhere on the if it's well supported spot. It's not like, oh my goodness, this Pokemon is going to save the format. But overall, I definitely think it's consistent, but I think what it does gets replicated very easily by something like a Floette, gets replicated easily by a non-mega version of a Sylveon, right? So I think it's kind of like that. It's like the cross between Sylveon and Floette, in my opinion, and if I'm going to use the Mega slot for it, I'd rather have a Floette, and if I'm going to not want a Mega, I'm just going to use my Sylveon, right? It just seems like it's in a weird spot, but a well-supported Gardevoir, especially some of those like Gardevoir Mousehold teams, could definitely kick off. Sableye, I'm sorry, you're bad. You know what? This is the hardest thing I've ever had to say, but Mega Sableye is just not good right now, guys. Mawile on the right team is very, very good. I think, you know, some of those Swords Dance sets are very, very strong. Its main issue is Charizard, and that Trick Room isn't a viable strategy, or as viable as it has been in the past right now. So that becomes a little more concerning for the Mawile. Mega Aggron, probably clickbait for a video. It's funny, it's decent, but I don't think it goes past that. You know, maybe I'll throw it up into gimmicky, because it probably is a tier above the other guys there, because it does have some good things going for it in terms of, like I said, with Iron Defense, Body Press. The filter ability is cool as well. Pure Steel typing does match up nicely into things like the Aerodactyl, into things like that Mega Floette. So I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. It'll be gimmicky but decent. Mega Medicham will be clickbait for a video, guys. There's not much else to say here. It just doesn't hit that. Doesn't hit the damage calcs that it wants. Doesn't hit the speed tier that it wants. So once again, one of those glass cannons that just doesn't quite get the value out of it that you want. So not a bad mon, but it's more so use it at your own risk. Have some fun with it, but it's not going to get you to that next level. Same with the Manectric right now. Once again, probably that kind of glass cannon style Pokemon. It just doesn't get to that next level, but it's a cool Pokemon and it can do some decent things well. Mega Sharpedo, I would honestly use regular Life Orb Sharpedo before I use Mega Sharpedo. I'll leave it in clickbait for a video because, you know what, why not? He's a cool guy. Camerupt, I think, on a well-supported Trick Room team similar to the Mawile, has a lot of potential. It's a very good Trick Room sweeper. The problem is, and what's setting these guys back from being on a higher tier, is that, like I said before, that Trick Room just isn't at the level that it wants to be at right now. Right? You can't get the Trick Room up to the level that you want to get the Trick Room up and support the Trick Room. It's just not quite there in this metagame, but in terms of the Trick Room sweepers, Mawile and Camerupt, both of them are very strong Trick Room options. Mega Altaria, I'm going to put it as gimmicky. I think regular Altaria might just be better. Like, the Cloud9 ability is really, really cool. So the problem with Altaria is you add a Dragon typing, which is awesome. Because, you know, you're a Dragon Fairy, so you add a Dragon typing, you don't end up losing to the Dragons. It's an interesting spot in the metagame, but I do think at the end it is a little bit more gimmicky. Sylveon gets effectively the exact same special attack stat, gets Hyper Voice off, it gets less resistances, but I don't know, it just doesn't seem like the Altaria is worth the Mega slot, but there's definitely an option for it to be relatively decent. Mega Banette, guys, it's clickbait for a video. We are not Wolf Glick, sadly. I think this is a Wolf Glick special mon. He had success with it in the past. It's a cool mon. It's got some cool text with like the Prankster and like the Destiny Bond, but outside of that, you get Will-O-Wisp. It just doesn't do what you want it to do. Like, it's a weird mix, right? Like, it wants to be a Prankster mon, but it wants to be an offensive mon. It just there's a weird spot here that, I don't know, it just doesn't really fit the metagame in my opinion. So it'll go down here as clickbait. Absol will follow up suit. Glalie will follow suit. Very, very speedy through those guys. Mega Salamence, my beloved, is unfortunately not in the game, so I'm just gonna, get her out of here for now. But hopefully it can come back soon. Mega Metagross. Okay, this well-supported tier, guys, is getting very interesting because Metagross, all things considered, should be a fantastic Pokemon. The problem is you can't cover everything the way you want to cover everything. It is picking up in usage into that Cosmic Power Sand team that's kind of been floating around. So there is an interesting spot for it if it is well supported. I will leave it here because I do think if somebody figures out Metagross, it could do incredibly, incredibly well at the World Championships. But it's just not quite there yet. It's a cool mon, similar to Blaziken, but I don't know, Metagross just seems to have a lot of better stats and matches up poorly. Blaziken doesn't have the stats, but it matches up decently well kind of thing, right? Both of them are good. I think on the right team, if someone figures that out, it's going to be amazing, but until someone does, they're not quite there. Mega Lopunny, I think it's gimmicky but decent. Probably the highest spot in this tier. It has its options, right? It has its tools. It's got that scrappy ability. Can't get intimidated. Big fighting type is never a bad thing. It's got a nice speed tier as well. However, that's pretty much where it stops, right? The Encore shenanigan is cool. Ice Punch tech move is cool. But I'm wasting a Mega slot to have Encore and an Ice Punch tech move. You know, it just doesn't seem like it's worth my Mega slot. But you know what? It's there. The Mega Garchomp, though, however, that's picking up in usage. I think on a well-supported team, Mega Garchomp does do cool things. So I'm going to leave it in here. It's picking up in usage. We've also seen some of these special Garchomps get put into play as well right now. So surprisingly, it's one of our best Earth Power users in the format, which is something I never thought I'd really consider seeing or would have seen. So seeing it pick back up in usage, seeing if that can get well supported going into the World Championships, I would keep my eye on that piece. I think it's a cool option. Mega Lucario, it's probably clickbait for a video right now, guys. It just doesn't do what it wants to do. It has that great option. It's a massive option in terms of Glass Cannon. Does a lot of damage, but similar to the Beedrill and that Sceptile that I was talking about earlier, just doesn't get to that next level, right? It doesn't get to that next level before it dies. It doesn't take a KO. as much as you'd like it to do. It also just loses to Charizard. So it's an interesting option. I think you can do something with it, but I don't think it goes past clickbait for a video. Mega Abomasnow, you guys are going to have to prove me wrong. I just think it's worse. I honestly just use regular Abomasnow. It's just not good. Mega Gallade, use regular Gallade. I'm sorry, Gallade. Just your non-Mega Evolution is better. Clickbait for a video here in the Audino. You get some cool like simple beam stuff. It had that one team at the Japan Nationals, I believe it was back in the day, but it's just not it. Okay, it's just not it. It's a funny looking mod. It's fun. I can put it in a thumbnail. You guys can put it in a thumbnail. Have some fun. Have some hype moments with it, but it just doesn't get to that next level. Same with the Victory Bell. It doesn't get to that next level, guys. So that's kind of like the category. That's my cutoff here. I don't think there's enough of it to take it to that next level. Mega D-Knight's pretty good. I think it's being slept on right now in the metagame. I'm going to leave it up here as one of the really strong Mega Evolutions right now. It is incredibly strong. It has a lot of tech coverage, and it matches up nicely into the Charizard and some of the other Mega Evolutions that are kind of hovering around. It's good into the Rain cores, good into the Sun cores, and when that's like, I would say 40% of the metagame, Mega D-Knight's probably a pretty decent option because of that. Chestnut, okay, I'm going to put clickbait for a video. I actually think there's potential here, just based on the fact that there's such a lack of grass types, but it just doesn't match up well into the metagame up top, right? The Floette takes care of it, the Aerodactyl takes care of it, the Charizard takes care of it. If in a different metagame, I think Chestnut works. Right now, not so much. Mega Delphox, it's going to go above my Aerodactyl here. It is a pretty good option, right? It's got a good speed tier. It matches up nicely into a opposing Charizard. You can go with, Size Shock and you start dealing with Floette pretty nicely. You probably deal with Floette nicely anyways. My main problem with Delphox is how frail it is, but I've been proven wrong on how well supported some of these teams have been. You got the Mousehold Sinistra ones, the quick guard Sneasler options with the Delphox. So I think there's a lot of good options that have shown that they can support Delphox and allow it to be the Mega that it wants to be. I think it's a pretty good option. Greninja guys, prove me wrong. I'm sorry. Malamar guys, prove me wrong. And no, I do not want to hear about how this minimized Psych Up team is all over the ladder right now. I don't care. It's bad. You guys are going to have to prove me wrong. Sorry. Halucha's clickbait for a video. I guess in sense Malamar is clickbait for a video as well. Like, you throw that guy on the thumbnail. It's like, whoa. But Halucha clickbait for a video. Guys, these tiers are probably one and the same. But anyways, Halucha down here just doesn't do much. It does get the no guard stuff, which is cool, but it's gimmicky at best, but it definitely doesn't get to that next level. Mega Clefable, I just don't see why I would ever use a Mega Clefable. I really don't. Mega Starmie would be good. Okay, hear me out on Mega Starmie. Mega Starmie would be good if it matched up better into the typings of the metagame right now. The Psychic typing, once again, being a hindrance. I've said this numerous times over the years where it just feels like having a Psychic type ends up hurting you in the long run, right? There's so many good Ghost types, so many good Dark types that it makes it difficult for Starmie to excel. So it ends up hurting it here as well, once again. But huge power, big time damage dealer, pretty decent speed. I think in a different world, it's probably pretty good, but that Psychic typing, bringing it down, not really great, but it's a decent gimmick, I think. Okay, I think Meganium, if well supported, similar to the Venusaur, does provide a lot into the metagame. The Venusaur, of course, probably creeps up near the top of this tier. Honestly, you know what? It's good enough to move up. But anyways, back to Meganium. The Meganium, in a sense here, it has its options, right? It does its cool things. It gets permanent fire moves. But once again, just losing to some of the more common stuff is a pretty big problem for it, right? There's a lot of poison types in the metagame right now just to deal with the Floettes. There's a lot of sun in the metagame, a lot of fire types to help deal with the Charizard. So it takes a hit from that. I think in the right metagame, it could be good. Maybe someone can figure it out and it will be really good. But right now, I think only if it's well supported. But it's a decent mon. I don't think it's a bad Pokemon. That ability does a lot for it. Mega Feraligatr, guys, it's clickbait for a video. Coming soon to a video near you. I don't know. It's cool in singles. I don't think it's pretty good in doubles though. Mega Emboar, it's bad. You guys are gonna have to prove me wrong. Mega Skarmory just doesn't meet that next level, so it's not gonna be up there very much. Frostlass is interesting. I'm tempted to put it in Fantastic, but I don't know if it's quite there. It's definitely a really strong option. I don't love its speed tier. I don't love its ability to be needing to go timid and then you start missing KOs, or you go modest and then you start missing the speed tier that you had before. So it's a little bit of an interesting option, but it's a very cool off meta mon. It definitely matches up nicely into certain aspects of the metagame right now. So I do want to keep it, and I do want to rank it relatively high because I do think it's a decent Pokemon. But Snow is always going to be weird, because when you're in terms of countering rain, you don't hinder it as much as Sun would. In terms of countering Sun, well, you still lose to the Sun guy. So it gets a little interesting, but I think definitely well supported, and it's a pretty strong mon overall into the rest of the metagame. So I'm going to leave it here. I think it's pretty decent. Mega Excadrill, I'm going to put gimmicky. I'd rather just use regular Excadrill, guys. Mega Scolipede, it's clickbait. It's just not good. It changes the whole purpose of the mon. It just doesn't feel like the whole purpose of Scolipede, in my opinion, was like, oh, we're going to go fast. We're going to hit hard. And now they're like, nah, let's make this thing slow. Let's bulk it up. It's cool. It's cute. But it doesn't get much farther. The Scrafty, I think, on a well-supported Trick Room team, does do well. Similar to that Mawile, similar to that Camerupt earlier. Just the Trick Room itself isn't good. But I think on the right Trick Room team, the Scrafty could be good. The Electros is definitely gimmicky at best. The Chandelure, Mega-wise, it's just not good, guys. It's just not. I'm sorry. Right? Use regular Chandelure before you use the Mega. It's a fun mon to use, but it's just not good. It's not there. Mega Pyro, guys. You guys remember when Reg MB started and everybody was like, "Yo, Pyro is the secret sauce," and then we just haven't seen it since. Yeah, well, here we are. I think a well-supported Pyro could still be pretty decent. Like, it has the stats, it has a move pool for it. So it probably is decent, but I wouldn't go much farther than that statement there. The Floette, it's definitely top of this fantastic options tier. It probably is in a tier of its own above Delphox and Aerodactyl. I don't think it quite hits Charizard tier though, so it's probably definitely the top of this one. It's a good option. Feel free to use it. It's a very good Pokemon. We know what we need to know about Floette. I don't even know what the thing is. Barbarical? What do you call it? It's bad. Don't use it. Mega Dragalge, it's clickbait, guys. It's just not good. It's just not good. Quite literally, it's not there. Drampa, same as always. You're going to have to prove me wrong. Clickbait for a video, guys. Once again, probably merging these tiers now that I'm starting explaining everything. It's not good. Just prove me wrong. Use regular Cloud9 Drampa. I don't know. Phalanx, once again, it's not good. Okay, it's just not good. Hey, look, the Mewtwo's made it back. There they are. They're not in the metagame, though, guys. But the Raichus, though, the Raichus definitely are. Raichu X needs to wait, in my opinion. I'm going to put gimmicky. It needs to wait to have the other terrain setters to get full value out of this guy. Right now, you set electric terrain. Okay, cool. But when you can set electric terrain as a counter to another terrain, I feel like you get a little bit more value out of it. So right now it's not very good, but I think there's a chance for it on the right team. You do get electric terrain set up for like Archaludons on a rain team and stuff like that. So maybe it's cute, but it's definitely gimmicky at best right now. Raichu, why? It's interesting because you know what it does. I don't think it gets past the well-supported Mega option. It's very good. You guys have to understand that anything in this well-supported option above can definitely see usage at Worlds and definitely have a good run, right? So anything in this tier up is probably pretty solid and definitely don't sleep on it. So it looks like I'm being harsh on it, and I am, but it's still a relatively nice tier 4. It's just so frail that everything it can do can get crumpled so quickly if it gets punished, right? So it has its options. It's just not quite there. Before all the Raichu supporters are in my comments. Chimecho guy, it's not good. Staraptor, it's creeping close to this fantastic option. I don't know if it's quite there. I'm going to leave it at the top of really strong right now. It is a very cool piece, and I think that's where it ends, right? It's had some decent success just because it's matched up nicely into the things that aren't named Charizard. And overall, you know, you get a couple defense boosts, you get a couple attack boosts, it goes crazy. In theory, it's a good mon. In practice, it's starting to see the success that we've expected to have, so maybe people are starting to figure it out. It's a cool mon. Golurk's bad, sorry guys. Meowstick's bad, sorry guys. Crabominable bad, sorry. Scoville, I'm putting it in gimmicky. I don't like having to utilize my Mega Evolution as the redirector. I don't like utilizing my Mega Evolution as the support piece. It just doesn't feel right to me. Right? Like, there's better redirectors. You know, yeah, okay, I get to burn a bunch of things. And that's great when the team is all physical. And yeah, there's definitely options for it to be decent. It's just not, I don't know, I've never liked it in my opinion. It's just not quite up to level there. Glamora is going to be the last one on this list here, guys. So, I don't think it's quite fantastic option. I think it's similar to the Venusaur, where it's like that off-meta Mega Evolution. I think it's pretty solid overall. I don't think it's anything incredible, but the typing matches up nicely into some of the top teams here. So, like, you know, you see the Aerodactyls, you see the Floette, you see the Charizard, right? All of a sudden, Glamora looks pretty good, right? So, I don't know if you need to Mega Evolve for the Glamora, which I think is one of the reasons. Maybe I'll bring it down a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to put below the Venu. Like, you can do the same things that the Mega Venu does for the most part. Sorry, that a Mega Glamora does for the most part with a regular old Glamora, maybe adding a Focus Sash to make up for the lack of bulk, get Toxic Spikes on the field, so you lose a little damage output, but I think overall the Mega Glim, it's a cool option. I think regular Glim might be able to do its job just as good, but Glim, it's a cool option, it's a strong option. Alright guys, this has gone on a little longer than I wanted it to, but you guys can see the bottom tiers here real quick. But then jumping back up, guys, anything honestly in the well-supported and above category, I think could have a very good showing at the World Championships. So don't let anything in this category discourage you if you want to use it and your mon is down here. I think gimmicky in theory as well. If someone figures it out, they would really have to figure it out and the metagame would really have to open. But in theory, maybe there's a shot. But anything in that's well-supported or above, in my opinion, could do well at Worlds. And I wouldn't be surprised. Like, if someone told me that, you know, hey, there's this really cool camera up Trick Room team that's starting to do well at Worlds, well, you know, it's one of the better Trick Room guys, right? So that's kind of where my line is here. These guys, though, I could definitely see these guys in the top 3 really being strong. And the top 4 there, obviously, just defining the metagame, right? But as you guys can see, Charizard, league of its own. If you guys do enjoy videos like this, please feel free to leave a like and comment down below. If you guys think I missed something, if you think I definitely butchered a rating on something, feel free to let me know as well. I'm interested to hear your thoughts as always. But with that, thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to get out of here, and I will catch you all in a future video.